History, it is said, is written by the victors. But what if that history is wrong, or worse, a lie? Could the history we know actually have been controlled, manipulated, and be part of some grand design for the human race? We have all heard of the secret societies like the Illuminati and the hidden reptilians that are said to control the world from the Vatican. But what if the truth is a little further out there? A little further in both the who and the where? Has evidence been found that shows there has been a hidden hand guiding humanity? Could that hand belong to a race that is not native to this planet? Let's take a look. Welcome to IF, videos on history, mystery, and the strange. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a video again. Out-of-place artifacts, or OPARTs, are something that I have looked at before. Normally, they are objects that are found buried that do not fit with the historical record. They often indicate that civilization was far more advanced in the past than historians say. Many people champion this idea. At the forefront is Graham Hancock, of who I am a huge fan. He believes that humanity was in possession of technologies that would be comparable to those we have today. So, where did this advanced technology and the associated knowledge needed to create it come from? Was it a natural progression of learning, or were we gifted it by visitors from the stars? Ancient alien theory would go with the latter, and they may have just found something that could end the debate. A 9,000-year-old human skull that it is claimed has a microchip inside. This game-changing fossil was found by aquatic archaeologists in Mexico at El Quatanaru. The shocked scientists first thought that the human skull had some kind of plate which had possibly been inserted using trepanation, the old practice of drilling or cutting holes in a skull to relieve sickness. They changed their minds when, on closer inspection, they were led to conclude that this was some type of artificial implant. Scientists say that the caves are the most important underwater archaeological site in the world, a location where they have discovered over 200 important archaeological finds. The cave system of El Quatanaru is the largest flooded cave network on the planet. It is the site of many recovered Ice Age bones, including the bones from humans. Nothing like this had been found before. The object is said to be some sort of microchip, a device that would not come into existence for another 9 millennia. Immediately, the Mexican security services came in and took control of the area and the skull, whisking it away to do further research themselves. Pedro Canche, who broke this story, went on to say that he himself had not seen the artifact, and all of the information he gave was based on a story of a person who was setting up equipment for scuba divers in the caves. This man said that the unusual skull lay in a common heap along with many other bones which were raised from the water, and it wasn't until it had dried that it attracted the attention of those present. When it had dried, the archaeologists became aware of traces of cranial surgery on the skull. Mexican archaeologist Guillermo de Anda said, "It's awesome. No doubt, this is the most important underwater archaeological site in the world. It is very unlikely that such findings have ever been made in the world. A large number of archaeological artifacts have been discovered, and the degree of their preservation is impressive." The skull was found under a layer of scraped up deposits. A metal patch in the bone was visible. It looked like it was made from copper. When inspected closely, a very thin, branched system of contacts were found, the ends of which were deepened to the edges leading inward. All who were in the group looked at it under a magnifying glass. Strict symmetry of the lines did not cause any doubts that the plate was technological in origin. Also, if it were an ornament, then why was it somewhere not visible and consisting of detail impossible to be seen with the naked eye? Why had the ancient surgeon closed it inside a hole in the head? Was this the work of the people living at that time, or an indication of outside intervention. When this cave system was dry, could it have been home to an alien race? It has long been said that a race of extraterrestrials does prefer to make their bases below the ground. Could the owner of this skull be someone who interacted with these subterranean ETs? This is not the first skull to be found that was said to have some kind of technology embedded inside. Napoleon Bonaparte is a name most will know, and he certainly features heavily in history. He helped shape Europe into what it is today. Most have heard the jokes about his height, but what you may not know is that he was also said to have been chipped. French scientists examining the remains of Napoleon Bonaparte were deeply puzzled by the discovery of a half-inch long microchip embedded in his skull. The scientists went on to say that the mysterious object could well be an implant of extraterrestrial origin, this then leading to the idea that the French emperor was a UFO abductee. Dr. André Dubois, the discoverer of the artifacts, said, "The possible ramifications of this discovery are almost too enormous to comprehend. Until now, every indication has been that victims of alien abduction are ordinary people who play no role in world events. Now we have very compelling evidence that extraterrestrials acted in the past to influence human history and may continue to do so." I was hoping to learn whether he suffered from a pituitary disorder that contributed to his small stature, explained the doctor. This reference to being small has already been debunked. Napoleon was actually of average height for the time, and I really don't see the approval of the exhumation of his body to prove something which is well documented, but who knows. The doctor continues by saying, "As I examined the interior of the skull, my hand brushed across a tiny protrusion. I then looked at the area under a magnifying glass and was stunned to find that the object was some kind of super advanced microchip." The doctor recorded extensive bone growth around the chip, this leading him to conclude that it had been inserted when Bonaparte was young. He also points to the story of Napoleon vanishing for a period of several days in July of 1794 when he was only 25 years of age. Napoleon himself claimed to be held prisoner at this time, yet there is no record of him being arrested during the Thermidorian coup, which he was said to have been caught up in. One thing is part of the historical record, and that is that he saw a meteoric rise to power after this disappearance. He became a military genius and led his armies across Europe, conquering all until his defeat at Waterloo in 1815. The doctor also had another theory linked to the implant, and it is to do with the iconic pose that Napoleon would strike, the pose that would see him stood straight, holding his hand over his heart. Dr. Dubois says it's possible that the device affected the electrical signals from his brain to his heart. In closing, the doctor wraps things up with a question asking, what Western history would have been like had the aliens not intervened? We can only guess. Thus, we cannot know whether they acted to help mankind or harm us. So is this proof of alien intervention throughout human history? Is it possible that human history may have been influenced by extraterrestrials? Have extraterrestrials been abducting and controlling major historical figures? This subject is an important part of the history of UFOs, aliens, and the origin of man. The idea that beings from another world may have been playing with humanity's destiny has endless and significant ramifications for our past, present, and future. The many cultural references to watchers and beings that came from the stars to help mankind, the stories of knowledge being gifted to different cultures at different periods of time goes back before the pyramids. What if the microchips existed in the days of the pharaohs? Maybe that is how they learned to build the massive structures that still hide so many mysteries until today. Some even claim that these chips are from the future, while others say they are nothing more than fakes and frauds. What do you think? Are these out-of-place artifacts proof of alien abduction and a secret extraterrestrial cabal controlling the world? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, if you like what I do here on the channel, hit that red button, like and share. You can catch the latest by searching We Are If. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.